There is one sentence about Jesus that almost disappeared from history. Not an entire story, not a chapter. One sentence. And this sentence does something the church cannot allow. It contradicts the central doctrine everything else depends on. So they tried to erase it. They tried to reinterpret it. They tried to make it invisible. But it is still there. And once you see what it actually says, you understand why they were afraid. This is not about interpretation. This is about a direct statement from Jesus himself that undermines 2,000 years of theology. The sentence appears in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 13, verse 32. Jesus is speaking about the final judgment, about the end of the world. And then he says this, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." Read that again. Nor the Son. Jesus explicitly states that there is something only God knows and that he does not. He separates himself from God's knowledge. He places himself below God in understanding. And if Jesus is God, as the church teaches, this sentence should not exist. This is where the problem begins. Christian doctrine teaches the Trinity: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. One being. Same essence. Same power. Same knowledge. But this sentence breaks that structure. If Jesus is God, how can he not know something God knows? This is not a minor theological puzzle. It is a direct contradiction. Either Jesus knows everything God knows, or Jesus is not God. There is no safe middle ground. The early church understood this immediately. This sentence caused confusion, debate, and fear. Some church fathers tried to explain it away. They said Jesus was speaking only from his human nature. But that creates another problem. If Jesus has a human mind that does not know, and a divine mind that does, is he one person or two? Others said Jesus chose not to know. But the text does not say that. It does not say he hides knowledge. It says plainly he does not know. And the early church struggled because this sentence threatened the entire structure they were building. Then came Arius. In the 4th century, a priest named Arius used this sentence as evidence. His argument was simple, devastating, impossible to ignore. If Jesus admits ignorance of something only God knows, then Jesus cannot be God. He must be created, exalted, chosen, but not identical to God. The church declared Arius a heretic, but his ideas spread anyway. Entire regions of the Christian world followed him. Churches split, riots erupted, wars were fought. And at the center of it all was this single sentence. The church tried another strategy. In some early manuscripts of Mark, the sentence is simply missing, gone. Is that an accident? A copying mistake? Possibly once. But when the same sentence disappears in multiple manuscripts, in the same place, with the same omission, modern textual scholars reach a different conclusion. Some scribes deliberately removed it, not out of ignorance, but out of fear, because they understood exactly what it implied. But the church could not erase it everywhere. Too many copies already existed, so they changed tactics. They did not remove the sentence. They buried it in interpretation. They said Jesus meant one thing while saying another. They said he knew in one sense but not another. They said the text means something it does not actually say. This is not interpretation. This is damage control. And once you notice this, you start seeing the pattern. Jesus prays to God. God does not pray to himself. Jesus says the Father is greater than he is. God cannot be greater than himself. Jesus says he was sent. God is not sent. Each of these statements points in the same direction, and for centuries, anyone who followed that direction was silenced. In the Middle Ages, denying Jesus' divinity meant death. Scholars learned quickly You do not read the text honestly, you read it correctly, meaning safely. Even Martin Luther avoided this sentence, not because it made sense, but because touching it would unravel everything. And that is the key insight. The doctrine was decided first. The interpretation came later. In the year 325, at the Council of Nicaea, bishops voted. They did not discover truth. They chose it. The vote was close. History could have gone another way, and sentences like Mark 13:32 were part of that fight. Today, biblical scholars quietly admit something. The Trinity is not clearly taught in the New Testament. It is a later construction. But this never reaches the pulpit, because institutions do not survive honesty, they survive control. And the sentence is still there, in every Bible, in every language, in every church. The Son does not know, only the Father knows. No explanation changes that. One sentence, a few words, enough to shake an entire doctrine. The church tried to remove it. They failed, so they taught you how not to see it. And the real question is this: if one sentence caused this much fear, how many others are you not supposed to read honestly? And once you start reading without permission, there is no way back, because you cannot unsee what the text actually says.